Hey friend, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Listen, if this is your first time here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews of some of my favorite TV shows and movies. So if this is something that interests you, consider sticking around. I have a lot more content coming to my channel. And with that being said, I'm so glad you're here. And thank you to all of those who have subscribed to my channel. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. This is the Gilded Age, Season 3, Episode 5. This one is called A Different World. Oh my God, so much stuff happened in this episode. This was a great, great, great episode. Let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, y'all. So the show opens up with Gladys and the Duke. We see them in the carriage. Gladys looks so sad and defeated and tired. She looks over at the Duke and she's like, look, when are we getting out of this carriage? It seems like we've been riding for days. And he's like, well, we've actually been on the estate for at least a good 30 minutes. So beautiful land, beautiful estate, beautiful castle from the outside. We see that the locals have gathered around and they're lining the streets. They got their white handkerchiefs, they're throwing roses. They're just ready to receive the new Duchess. And so this is something that Gladys is going to have to get used to. She wasn't given that much attention back in New York, especially up under, Bertha's thumb. So we'll see how she adapts to this new world, this different world. Now, back in New York, we see Peggy and Dr. William. It looks like they're at a baseball game and they're having the time of their lives. Peggy's having such a good time. This is probably the happiest I've ever seen Peggy. Anyway, as they're leaving the game, we hear Miss Scott, Miss Scott. Who is it? Dr. or Mr. Fortune. So introductions are made, and then Fortune tells Peggy that he read a piece from her novel and then asks if she would be interested in interviewing Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, who is doing work with the women's suffrage movement. And so Peggy's all excited about it and like, yeah, for sure. And so Fortune's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to send you the information because she doesn't live in New York. She's in Philadelphia. Are you in Brooklyn? Should I send it to Manhattan? She's like, yeah, go ahead and send it to Manhattan. So as he's getting ready to leave, his little girl walks up like, Daddy, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, okay, Peggy, there's your reminder. Let's not go back there, because I really think that she was kind of smitten on Mr. Fortune. But the good doctor, yeah, she got it now. And he is so supportive. Like after Fortune walked away, he was really, truly excited about this new opportunity that she has for this interview. And I just love it. Now, if we can only get his mama to mind her manners, I think we'll be on to something. We'll see. All right. One thing I will say in this episode, George was not a happy camper. Okay. I think he was only maybe happy one time, and that was when we had the announcement on the engagement. But other than that, no, he was not a happy camper. Anyway, he meets with Clay. He's asking about, hey, what's going on with the Illinois Central line? Clay is like, listen, the Merrick family won't sell. There's the Merrick family, and there's another family that's not going to sell. Then he asks, well, what's going on in Morenci? What's going on in Arizona? Clay gives him excuses about that too. Well, the miners don't want to sell because they don't trust you. Next thing you know, George flies off the handle. Well, this needs to be done. I expected you to get these business deals done. And Clay's like, listen, guy, there's no money. There's no way you're going to make money if you don't have money. Okay. So he's like, all right, your services are no longer needed, Clay. You can go. So he fires Clay. And I'm like, man, this guy really is ruthless. But if there's no money, there's no money. There's nothing Clay can do. But apparently it doesn't matter to George because he just wants the deals done and he wants them done now. Now, back at the house, Bertha's talking to church and now she's upset because the papers are still running all of their business, talking about even Gladys overseas and talking about the Russell family. And so church is like, look, I got Borden and Bruce on it. And he even goes across the street and talks to Bannister about it. And Bannister is like, listen, that's what people do. They're rich and they're famous, and people want to know about the rich and the famous. So that's just, par for the course. It's just going to happen. But in my experience, I think that it's usually the people that you hire the last that are the ones that, maybe the leak in the family. And so church is like, listen, we've hired a billion people with this Duke situation with Gladys's wedding. I don't know. But anyway, we'll find out what goes on with that. So George wants to know what's going on with Gladys. So he asked Bertha. Bertha's just like, yeah, she's fine. I mean, no news is good news. And it's just like, man, lady, that is your daughter. What do you mean? But anyway, he's like, listen, I want you to do me a favor. You know Mr. Merrick, right? And she's like, yeah, he's on the board at the Met. She's like, listen, I need you to invite him over to dinner. We're gonna schmooze him a little bit. You turn on the charm, and then after that, I'll go in and I'll see if I can't get these shares from him. And she's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So we got a dinner with Mr. Merrick, y'all. Let's see what happens. Okay, now back at the castle, we see Lady Sarah. Hey, girl, hey. And she's walking with Duke and Gladys, and they're stopping. They're looking at all the portraits. They stop and they look at their mom's portrait. Gladys makes a comment that she recently had her portrait done, and it's back in New York. And Lady Sarah's like, where it should stay. And I'm like, Lady Sarah, why are you being petty and messy? I mean, people who have mice really shouldn't be petty and messy. Because the next thing you know, we see this big mouse trap and Gladys is like, y'all got mice? And the dude's got a nerve to say, oh, well, everyone has mice and we got a cat though. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I know that's a horrible Duke voice, but that's just the voice that comes to my mind every time I see him. Anyway, so here's Lady Sarah. Well, we're not like those back in New York. This house has been in our family since the 1600s, and we don't just go up, up and just go building new houses all willy nilly. And I'm like, well, do you guys invest in exterminators maybe? Something besides a cat? But anyway, they continue to walk up the hallway and they're just talking and discussing the events and everything that's going on. And Gladys is asking some questions, but ain't nobody paying attention to her. And so I'm like, girl, you need to get a voice. You have to find it. Otherwise, you're going to get swallowed up out here. Now, back in New York, Marian comes in with the mail and she notices that one piece is for Peggy, which happens to be the train ticket that Mr. Fortune sent so that she can go interview the lady. Now, Marion is telling all of Peggy's business without telling all of Peggy's business because she sees that the letter is from Mr. Fortune and she remembers all the drama that went on last time. So she's like, are you sure? And Peggy's just trying to be subtle. She's just like, I'm capable of handling this interview. Thank you. Should you take a doctor with you? Marion, please. And so she's just looking. I'm like, Marion, you're telling all this girl's business. And Agnes is like, now, why would she need a doctor to interview her? So I'm telling you, if looks could kill, Peggy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you later on." But anyway, back at the Russells, we see George, and he wants to send Larry to Morency to go ahead and close up this deal. Since Clay didn't get it done, and so Larry's just pretty much like, "Well, what's in it for me?" He's like, "Inheritance. You'll get all of this once I'm gone. I need you on the first thing smoking." And so Larry's like, "Well, wait, I might want to invest in it. Go ahead and send me the documents." And he's like, "Okay, cool, but I need you out of here. I gotta have you go and close this deal." And he's like, "Listen, I can't do it right now." Well, what more could be important? What could be more important than that? Well, I'm going to ask for Miss Marion's hand in marriage. Oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, good. Now, George is excited about it. He gets up, shakes his hand. Very good, son. Good choice. Yeah, but what do you think mom's going to say? Don't you worry about your mother. I'll handle her and we'll make it official when you get back from Morency. So I am so happy about this. I have a feeling that Miss Bertha is not going to be, but we will see what happens there. So anyway, back at the castle, we see Gladys and she's there with Idlehyde. Idlehyde's helping her get ready for her very first dinner. And so, they're kind of comforting each other because these are new rule roles for both of them. Anyway, Idlehyde has this beautiful diamond stars that she wants to put on the back of Gladys's head. Gladys loves it. She goes out to the dinner. They introduce her, and one of the guests is asking, "Well, how was your trip?" She was like, "Yeah, it was fine." And the next thing you know, we got Lady Sarah pulling her off to the side, talking about, "What is that in the back of your hair? You need to have on a tiara. If I can wear one, you can wear one. We're not back in New York." And I'm like, okay, slow down, Lady Sarah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if she thought, or if somebody would have told her that she needed to put the tiara on, she would have had it on. So not only that, she takes the dude because it was time to go eat, and they just walk off together. And so one of the other guests was like, "Here," and he just kind of held out his arm, and Gladys went with him. They get to the table. The seating arrangement is messed up, according to Lady Sarah, because now she has to sit somewhere else because, yes, the Duchess is here. So they're all at dinner. It's really awkward for Gladys because she doesn't understand the joking, she doesn't understand the stories, and the Duke isn't being much better. I mean, he did try to help her out with one of the things that they were talking about, but when it was time to get up, he's like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and have port?" And I'm like, "Man, be quiet. Just help her out. This is a transition." So couple minutes later, we see Idlehide in tears because Lady Sarah done fired her and told her she needs to go back to New York. So Gladys is like, "Hold up, I'm gonna handle this." She goes and talks to Lady Sarah. "What are you doing? You can't fire my lady's maid." And so Lady Sarah's like, "Yeah, she's not doing well. She's got to go." And even the Duke was like, "Couldn't you at least let her keep her lady's maid?" And it's like, oh my God. So now we know who's running things there. It is clearly Lady Sarah. Anyway, Gladys is very, very upset. She writes a note, tells Idlehide, "I don't care what you do, but you need to get this to New York right away." So hopefully this letter has something that's going to give her some kind of relief or something, or get her up out of there because she's not happy and this is not working. All right, so back in New York, we see Larry and Marian. They're going for a walk, and I'm like, "Oop, here it is. He's about to propose." So as they're walking, of course, he's telling Jack's business. And oh, by the way, he is telling Jack's business to everybody that can listen and that will listen to it. Like, if it's not him, is Mrs. Bauer or somebody else is just telling this poor guy's business. I'm like, "Well, you guys like maybe talk to him and see, like, especially you, Mrs. Bauer, you already know that he said he didn't want anybody to know right now." And she done went and told Bannister and Armstrong about it. I thought a fly was gonna fly in Armstrong's mouth because she was just, "What? $300,000?" And the sisters also know that they sold the clock idea. So between Marion and Larry, they are just spreading Jack's business all over the place. Anyway, so they're there. He gets down on one knee and he's like, "Marion Brooke, will you marry me?" And I thought that there was a little bit of a pregnant pause there. I was like, "Are you sure, Marion? Because if you're not sure, you don't have to marry him now." But anyway, she paused for a quick second and then she did say yes. She seems like she's happy. She seems like she's sure. I hope she is. Anyway, they go back, they tell the sisters. And one thing that I did notice, and you guys let me know this, but I noticed that, and I don't know if this is because of the money dynamic and how that changed, but it seems like Ada is now being the one with the voice and Agnes is kind of falling back. And I don't know if this is because of the money shift, but Ada gets up. She's like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing ever." She's so happy that they are engaged. Agnes, I know that she wasn't happy about it, but usually, it seems like they would have at least told Agnes first, but they did tell the sisters together. I'm just not sure. Agnes was just a little bit too quiet for my taste with this announcement, and I don't know if it was because of the money or if it was because Agnes was just that upset about the news. I'm not sure. So you guys let me know your thoughts on that. But anyway, Larry goes on to say that he has to leave town. He's got some business that he's got to take care of for his dad. And then tonight he has to go to, I believe the place is called Delmonico's because a friend of his is getting married and they're all going to meet out there, probably like a bachelor party or something. But other than that, they are all so happy about it. Now, when they leave, because I think they're going to go next door to tell Larry's parents about it and everything, and so they can toast with both of them. You guys know that he already told George. But anyway, Agnes is upset. She is like, "Now that lady's going to think she's part of our family." And Larry, I don't know what's going on with him. First this, then he makes my footman rich. I mean, I don't understand it and I don't like it at all. And I'm like, "Agnes, I know that you're not upset that Jack now has money. I mean, you're never going to get your blessing like doing that. You're never going to. You need to be happy for everybody, Agnes." I didn't understand that about her. And I kind of gave her a little bit of a side eye, but she hasn't been having a good season. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Now, back across the street, they're over there. They're toasting it up. We got George, we got Marian, we got Larry. They're toasting. Bertha's not down yet. She's still upstairs. And they're like, "Well, where is she?" George is like, "Pfft, she's upstairs. Don't worry about it. Like, she's already ruined Gladys. So I'm not going to let her do it this time." Anyway, we remember that Mr. Merrick is coming over to so that George can talk to him about this deal in Illinois. So As Bertha's walking down the stairs, Church is announcing that Mr. Merrick has arrived. And as she's walking down the stairs, honey, he is just standing there at the bottom of them stairs looking at her like, you are a sight for sore eyes, or whatever it was he said. And she was like, I hope that that's a good thing. And he's like, it definitely is a good thing. And I'm thinking like, well, my goodness, right here at the house, y'all are just gonna carry on like this. Okay. Anyway, Bertha takes him and guides him into the room where everybody else is. They make the introductions, and then when she introduces Marian, she's like, "And here's my neighbor, Marian Brooke." And George was like, "She's a little bit more than that now." Takes her by surprise. She's like, "What?" She flashes the ring, and yep, your future daughter-in-law, Bertha. Get used to it, honey. And so Larry's like, "Yep, I proposed to her today. We are engaged, and I got to go to Morenci for a month to take care of some business." And she's like, "Wow, I go to one meeting and I come back and my son's just changed his complete life." And it's like, "Yeah, hopefully get away from you." But anyway, she plays it off, but you can look at her face and tell she is not happy. And they're like, "Well, is it announced yet?" And Bertha's like, "No, we're not going to announce it yet. We're going to wait." No, Larry, I think it was George that said, "Well, we'll do the announcement when he gets back." And then she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no need to announce it. There's no rush." And I'm like, "Girl, if you don't, I'm telling you right now, Bertha, if you do something to upset Marian, it's going to be a problem. Like, you really just need to stop. Now, you already got Gladys married off, so you've done enough. So let's not do this again. Let's see what happens, y'all." All right, so let's go to the train station. We got Peggy, we got the good doctor. They're both there. I think the good doctor was kind of like seeing her off. Next thing we know, we see Mr. Fortune. He's popping up and he got a suitcase in his hand. And we're all like, "Okay, wait a minute now. Where are you going?" And so he's like, "Well, I just thought that maybe, I could come along because I may have a couple of questions." And no, 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 no. So Peggy is completely upset about this. She is like, "Mr. Fortune, you wanted me to go and do this interview. Now, either I'm going to go by myself or I'm not going to go at all." And so he's like, "No, no, I got some questions." And, she's like, "You can write your questions down." And what I loved is that the good doctor kind of like got in there and was like, "Listen, you trusted her to do this article. So why don't you just let her go do it? I mean, there's no need for you to go." So he was like kind of standing up for her. And I appreciated that. And the more and more that he talked, the more Mr. Fortune got just kind of out of pocket. And I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" So much so that that he pushed him. He pushed the doctor. And I'm like, "Okay, so Mr. Fortune, what you need to do is you need to go interview the lady. Peggy, you need to go with the doctor and just go ahead. I know it's a great opportunity, but you don't want to get mixed in with Mr. Fortune and all this stuff. Like, he's no good. He's married. He got kids, and obviously, he was going to try to go with you to Philadelphia so that, he could try to see if he could get something started again." And the answer is no. So I'm glad that you stuck to your guns. Mr. Fortune did end up leaving and going, and Peggy's going to go ahead and just go. And she was like, "Listen, there's a lot of things that I didn't tell you about my past." And what I loved is when he said, "And I will be right here to hear it when you get back." I was like, "Oh my God." I love that part. Kudos to the good Dr. Kirkland. I see you, doctor. Okay, so next it looks like we're gonna get a little bit of a peek into this men's club called Monacos. Honey, it looks just like Jezebel's from The Handmaid's Tale, minus all that Gilead stuff that they do over there. But anyway, honey, they've got dancing, they've got drinking, they've got girls, they've got gambling, they got two women that's in a ring beating the crap out of each other. And I'm like, ooh wee, who knew that this was going on? Some kind of like underground joint that they got happening. Anyway, Larry has invited his business partner, Jack. And Jack just looks like a little boy in there. He looks like he just don't belong at all. Anyway, it was so funny when they were all sitting down and this lady came up to Jack and was like, "Excuse me, can you buy me a drink?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, no." So funny. But that's what's going on as Larry is in there with his friend and they're all having a grand, wonderful time. Larry looks and he thinks he sees Maud Beaton. So he goes over there to the lady who was Maud Beaton and he's like, "Excuse me, are you Maud Beaton?" And she's like, I don't know why you're calling me that because my name is not Maud Beaton. My name is I think she said her name was like Dottie Benton or Maddie Benton or something like that. But anyway, Molly Trent. That's what she said. My name is Molly Trent. And as soon as she said that, some guy took her, and that's that. So I am so glad that later on we see that Larry did go to Oscar and say, hey, I think I saw Maud Beaton down at Delmonico's, and he told John Adams about it. So I think that Oscar is going to go down there and pay a little visit to find out where his money is. And rightly so. Go get your money, Oscar, because enough is enough. All right, you guys. It looks like we do see Madame Dashkova this episode. Ada has gone back to see her, and she was able to tap back in and connect with Luke beyond the grave. And Madame Dashkova starts to tell Ada all of the things that, she is hearing from Luke, that they had a love that was special and that he really loved her and that he misses her, and it's going to be okay. Just the things that's going to help Ada move forward, and I'm really, really glad that Madame Dashkova was saying those things to her. It seemed to really help. Now, Cynthia Nixon, just go ahead and give her the Emmy. That was such a great scene. I loved it. The way that I was like, yeah, she's doing that. You go, girl. Anyway, I think it's good that she was able to find that closure. And sometimes when people die very suddenly without any answers to it, it's already hard. Death is already hard, but when it just goes without explanation or it just goes so fast, it's just like, man. So I'm glad that she was able to do that for her. She even went back to the house and had a little bit of pep in her step, had a smile on her face, and Ada was like, hey, what's going on with you? And she even tells her that she's thinking about, incorporating a little bit more color into her wardrobe. And I'm here for it. Good for you, Ada. I want to see both of the sisters out in society more. So I hope that they do that. But I'm so glad that it seems like she's on the mend with her grieving. We know it doesn't happen overnight, but she'll get there. At least she's taking the first steps. And no matter how ridiculous Agnes thinks that, Madame Dashkova is, it did ultimately end up helping Ada. So good for her. Now, we also got to see Miss Bruce and Borden talking, and it seems as though they were in love, they were happy, but kids weren't in the future. I don't know why. I don't know if it was like she couldn't have kids or whatever the case may be, but she did say she was happy with her husband once upon a time. And then Borden's like, I love you and I mean it. And she's like, and I appreciate you and I mean it. So I don't know what that means, but I think they're on the right track. They just need to continue to get to know each other and date and talk, and I think they'll be fine. So kudos to them. All right, now it seems like Mrs. Fish is throwing a party, y'all. I think this may be the first one of the season with the New York people there, and it is in Newport, and we know that Aurora is in Newport. She's there and she's talking to Marian, and she's just saying that she was invited by Mrs. Fish and that Miss Astor is supposed to be there, but they don't know because you guys remember that Miss Astor has a little bit of drama going on, in her household as well, as far as her daughter being caught up with her husband trying to duel this guy that she supposedly was seeing over in Paris. So there's a whole lot going on over there with Mrs. Astor. But anyway, Aurora seems to be like, well, hey, she invited me and I'm going to go. I know I'm going to see some people, from New York society there, but, it is what it is and I'm going to go. So they do end up going. Mrs. Fish sees her when she gets there and she's like, well, I didn't think you were going to show up, but you might want to think about maybe leaving. And I'm like, well, my goodness, Mrs. Fish. And I think she did that because she wasn't expecting Mrs. Astor to be there, but Mrs. Astor was there. And of course, when she got there, she kind of shunned Aurora and told her that she should leave as well. And I really felt bad for Aurora. But I guess the thing about it is, when you're divorced, these women, they kind of shun you because I guess the husband is the one that has the money. And when you're divorced, you're kind of looked at as the one that doesn't have the money. Now, she did say that she is going to get, the houses in New York and everything like that. But she's going to lose her place in society. This is what Aurora is saying. She's going to lose her friends and she's going to lose all of that. So, I really felt bad for her. She went to go sit down and, the ladies were like moving away from her when she went to go sit. So Bertha did go up to her and was like, listen, I'm glad to see you here, and so they were talking about the divorce stuff and everything. And I think that Bertha's going to take more of an active role in how these divorcees are being treated. I have a feeling that that's going to come up. Anyway, it kind of comes to a head, and Aurora's just going to go ahead and leave, and so Marian's going to take her back, and she just gets in and she says, I cannot believe that I was invited to this party when I was Mrs. Charles Fane, and now I'm nothing. And I was like, wow, you just hang in there, Aurora, it'll get better. I mean, they're going to have to do something now. At the party, when it was almost done, you see Mrs. Fish and Mrs. Astor talking, and Fish is telling Astor, look, you can't shun Aurora, not when you got all this stuff going on in your backyard. I mean, you need to clean up what's going on here before you can start shunning this lady. And you really, really need to think about it because it's not right. And good for Mrs. Fish for saying that. And, I never realized how much in society, how I guess kind of high up in society Mrs. Fish was to be able to have that candid conversation with Mrs. Astor, but she did, and it seems like Mrs. Astor was taking it into consideration. I don't know though, maybe not. So I think Mrs. Astor is probably just like, I just wish that this whole thing with my daughter would just go away. I'm sure it's really a pain in her side. So we'll see what happens there. But good for Mrs. Fish for sticking up for, what's right. Good job, Mrs. Fish. And lastly, you guys, let's talk about this dinner. Now, for me, I thought we were going to have to leave and let Bertha and Merrick, have a little moment. I mean, they were doing the absolute most, and you can best believe that George picked up on all of it. I mean, seemed to me that Merrick was in love with Bertha. I don't know what was going on. Anyway, they go and they play pool after dinner, and George explains that he wants the shares, and Merrick's like, nope, no can do, not doing it. It's in my family and we're not doing it. And I can't trust you because I don't know you. I know your wife. I don't know you. And you did not become, this shrewd businessman or big businessman that you are by being, Mr. Nice Guy. So you can save all of that and all your big speeches and everything. But the answer is no. And he just walks off, and this game is over, puts the pool stick down and walks off. I don't think George is used to hearing no. He was very upset. He goes into the bedroom, starts yelling at Bertha, talking about what the world was going on at dinner with you. You were doing way too much. And she was like, well, you told me to schmooze him and to charm him, And he's like, yeah, but not like that. Like, I felt like a simp sitting at the table. Like, what is your problem? And I was like, yeah, George, I was picking up simp vibes myself. I didn't know what she was doing, but she must be stopped. And anyway, she said, well, don't yell at me because, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, he walks out. She goes to Mrs. Fish because Mrs. Fish is having that dinner that she was having, or the get together she was having. But anyway, when she comes back from Mrs. Fish, George has the letter from Gladys, and he just comes at her with the letter. I told you that this wasn't going to work. I told you that she was unhappy. And she's just like, I can fix it. I can go. I can go and I can fix it. And he's like, you can go do what you want to do. But when you get back, I won't be here. And I was like, what? So is this the end of the Russells? I don't know. But honey, let me tell you, what a great, great episode. There was so much that went on in this episode. You guys tell me if I missed anything. I felt like I probably did miss some stuff, but I tried to hit the main points. But wow, what an episode. I really, really enjoyed it. You guys let me know what y'all thought about it. Give me your thoughts on this wedding. Will we see a Larry and Marian wedding? I don't know. And is this the last that we see of Mr. Fortune? I hope so. Because he's doing way too much. And again, I'm curious to see what happens with Maud Beaton and Oscar. I'm curious to see what happens with Jack and his newfound freedom. This show is absolutely awesome, and I love it, and I'm here for it. And I will be back next week, and I will see you the next time we do it. All right, y'all. Bye.